Councilmember Ashford. Councilmember Ashford.
Present.
Councilmember Lamb.
Here.
Councilmember Mosherak.
Here.
Councilmember Pemberton.
Here.
Councilmember Ruiz.
Here.
Mayor Rep.
Here. Thank you. And welcome aboard again, Councilmember Ruiz.
Thank you.
And we have the minutes before us from the regular meeting of January the 25th and the special meeting of February the 1st. Is there a motion to receive and file?
So moved,
Motion.
Madam Chair.
Thank you, Councilmember Ashford. Is there a second?
Second.
Councilmember Mosherak. Is there any changes to the minutes? Seeing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Minutes will stand as submitted. We do have one presentation on the agenda tonight, which we'll be doing virtually. So if the clerk will please read that.
A proclamation designating February as Black History Month will be presented to Kevin Watkins, President, Port Huron Branch of the NAACP.
Thank you. Is Kevin in the audience as far as on Zoom? If he is, he can certainly come in at this point before I start reading.
I don't see him on, Mayor Rep. If he is on, can you please raise your hand? If not, I do not see him on the attendee.
Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead, and if he comes in while I'm in the process of reading it, can you just open it up and let him in? Okay. Whereas Black History Month is celebrated each February, and throughout Black History Month, we recognize the extraordinary achievements and acknowledge the many contributions Black Americans have made in our nation, our state, and our city. And whereas civil rights activists such as Martin Luther King Jr., with the courage and perseverance, inspired the nation to judge a person by the content of their character rather than the color of their skin. And whereas as a result of their hard work, intelligence, and determination, Black Americans have made valuable and lasting contributions, achieving exceptional success in all aspects of society, including business, education, politics, science, and the arts. And whereas Black History Month is an opportunity to reflect on the struggle for freedom and equal opportunity in the United States. And whereas Black History Month is a time for all residents to remember the stories and teachings of those who helped build our nation, took a stance against prejudice to build lives of dignity and opportunity, advance the cause of civil rights, and strengthen family communities. And whereas the city of Port Huron continues to work toward becoming an inclusive community in which all citizens past, present, and future are respected and recognized for their contributions and potential contributions to our community, the state, the country, and the world. And whereas during Black History Month, all Americans are encouraged to reflect on past successes and challenges of Black Americans and to look to the future to continue to improve society so that we all live up to the ideals of freedom, equality, and justice. Now, therefore, I, Pauline M. Rep, by the authority vested in me as mayor of the city of Port Huron, and on behalf of council members Archibald, Ashford, Lamb, Mosherak, Pemberton, and Ruiz, do hereby proclaim February 2021 to be Black History Month in the city of Port Huron, and urge citizens to take every opportunity to participate in planned activities and to join together in making this a period of rededication to the principles of justice and equality for all people. I don't know if Kevin Watkins, who is the head of the NAACP, I was going to present it to him. We will mail this proclamation to him, but I'd also like to note, as a celebration of Black History Month, the city is sponsoring 20 banners, which will be hanging in our downtown area in the next little while. They're all been made, I do believe. Our city manager, is that true?
They're in the
James?
process, and they're being manufactured right now by Cedar Hill Graphics.
Okay, so they will be hanging in our downtown, and we are sponsoring 20 of those. I will put the proclamation aside, and if in fact he comes up during public comment, then we can re-mention it at that time. And we'll move on to public hearings.
To hear comments concerning liquor licensees delinquent in payment of taxes, utility payments, and/or income tax reporting and payments.
Is anyone who's either on the line, either by way of a smartphone, an iPad, computer, or they can just either raise the hand to speak to this public hearing. That's in the bottom right-hand corner of your computer, or if you are by phone, you need to *9 to raise your hand and then *6 to unmute yourself. So we'll give it just a moment to see if anybody is going to speak on this public hearing. I take it there's no one in there, James?
No one for the public. Oh, for the public, I guess Kim Brown is going to speak on the public hearing.
On the public hearing or on the public comment, probably?
They're raising it for public hearing. So I have 2 for public hearing.
Okay, on the liquor license. Okay. Pastor Brown, if you can hear me, go ahead. You give your name. And if you're talking about the public hearing, that's what we're hearing comments on right now is public hearing number 1 due to delinquent licensees for liquor. If it's not and it's public comment, just wait a moment. We'll bring you back in. Just let me know.
Yes, I will wait a moment.
You will be waiting a moment. Okay, okay. So I will close public hearing number 1 because I
We
didn't
have
hear
one
you.
more, Mayor Rep, we have one more who came on for this.
Okay.
Ken Harris, who's
first-
asking to speak on behalf of the public hearing.
Public. Go ahead.
I wish-
Ken Harris, yep, go ahead
Yeah.
and speak on
Can
public
you hear
hearing.
me?
Yes, we can. Right
Uh,
ahead.
Yeah, my comment was for the open public meeting, so you might want to, I might want to take a step back too.
You want us to take a step back? It's not on the liquor licenses? Okay. Then I will remain with what I closed out the public hearing. And now we will go on to the public comment portion of the meeting. So Pastor Brown, you were on there first. So if you'd like to give us your name and your address, and you have 4 minutes to speak.
She will need to unmute it.
Pastor Brown, you need to.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, we
Are
can.
you able to? Okay, all right. Yes, good evening. And we want to say good evening to our mayor and to our city manager and to all of our council members. I want to take this time to tell everyone thank you for participating. I'm very sorry. I was having some difficulty here. Tell you thank you very much for your sponsorship to the historical Black History flags. I believe that initially there might have been some things that were not clear. However, in them being cleared up, we were appreciative because the Black History flags, as I noted, will give an opportunity for many of the organizations and all of the churches, many of the citizens of Port Huron to work collectively together to honor Black History Month, and not only honor Black History Month, but its citizens and those who have been a part of the struggle and have been a part of the city to make a difference. And so we do thank you very much for coming in and being a part of that, for allowing the group to move forward in this endeavor and for it to be posted in the city. And so this is what I want to say on tonight.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I believe Ken Harris is on there. If you are Ken, you can go ahead and give your name and address, and you have 4 minutes. Ken, are you on?
Mr. Harris, you'll need to unmute yourself.
Ken Harris, you need to unmute yourself.
Okay,
Can you
sorry.
hear me? Okay.
Am I muted?
Yep, you are. I can hear you now, so go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, I would like to speak to you tonight about the subject of the fire station for White House Park. You know, on the subject of relocating that central fire station, I'm just wanting to explain to you, we cannot disregard the history of the Old Town history. You know, back Judge Fortune White of New York in 1835 bought 80 acres south of Black River. Him and his partner, Dan Brown, platted the village of Port Arnett as is known at that time. Well, in 1845, Edgar White and his 16-year-old son permanently resided in Port Huron, which became the White Flat. And I think part of this with this history is the White Park must be known as kind of a historic portion of Port Huron as it become known as Old Town. And as that respect goes, I think the one thing that I looked at, I was out there kind of pound the pavement a little bit today, and just some examples of other places I thought that might be good for the city of Port Huron. And one, you might have to confiscate the property, but I think an ideal place for a fire hall would be on River Street where the old factory was that burnt down. Another alternative to the fire department hall would be the city-owned property between the 23 and 2200 block on 10th Street. Both of these pieces of property, I think that can be, approached and maybe make a good measure on the city's half. This is kind of a different avenue for me, but I thank you for listening, and I think we need a lot of good luck because we do need a good fire department. So thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you for your comments. Is there anyone else in the waiting room? Mr. Freed?
Madam Mayor, I'm going to attempt to add Kevin Watkins on. However, he is having some audio problems,
Okay,
so he should be, see if this will work for him.
I can see Kevin Watkins, but he needs to unmute himself. I can see that he's out there.
Oh, there he is.
Oh, I see you. You need to, yep, you're perfect. Go ahead. You're
Kevin,
unmuted.
I think his audio is still having a problem.
I can't hear you. We can see you and I see it's unmuted, but I cannot hear him. We'll wave to each other because I don't know what else we can do right now. Yeah, maybe you can he call in?
Yeah, we'll work on having a call back in and see if we can't get it working.
Okay, because of this is new and the technical difficulties, we'll go on with the agenda, but if he gets back in, we'll let him back in at that time, okay? But you don't have anybody else waiting?
For public comment, I do not. If someone wants to make a public comment, you can click in button now.
Pardon me?
They can click the raise their hand button.
Yes, okay. Is there anyone else who would like to speak under public comment? You can hit the raise your hand button if you do. Okay, hearing no one or knowing, pardon me?
I think Kevin's going to try it again.
Okay, well then we'll wait a second before I close it.
Kevin, can you hear us? Not going to work.
No, don't see it. So I will move on. I will close public comment portion of the meeting unless we can get him back on the line at some point, in which case we'll do it then. We will move on to the consent agenda. Is there a motion to adopt the consent agenda?
So move.
Councilmember Ashford, is there a second?
Second.
Councilmember Lamb. Have the clerk take the roll, please.
Member Ashford,
Yes.
Councilmember Lamb,
Yes.
Councilmember Mosherek,
Yes.
Councilmember Pemberton,
Yes.
Councilmember Ruiz,
Yes.
Mayor Rep.
Yes. The items on the consent agenda, excuse me, received and filed notification that Dale Hamill has been appointed by the city manager to the Port Huron Health Commission to fill a vacancy that expires on December 19th, 2025. Recommendation that the application of Dirty Thumb Brewing Company LLC for a new on-premises tasting room permit to be located at 1615 Pine Grove Avenue be approved by the Michigan Liquor Control Commission. Authorizing the submission of a special liquor license application to the Michigan Department of Licensing and Regulatory Affairs Liquor Control Commission for the City of Port Huron's Rockin' the Rivers event on Thursday evenings during the month of August at Kiefer Park, and recommending the license be issued. Confirming the mayor's appointment of Charles John Anter to the Planning Commission for a term to expire August 11th, 2023. approving the appointment of Andrew Carricker to the Historic District Commission with a term to expire March 10th, 2024, and confirming the city manager's reappointments of Kurt Epley and Casey Harris to the Downtown Development Authority with terms to expire February 9th, 2025. Then we will move on to, from the city manager, number 1.
Accepting the bid from Galena Van Dyke Dodge Ram in the amount of $26,036 for one 2021 Dodge Tradesman Crew Cab 1500 4x4 pickup truck for use by the fire department.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Councilmember Pemberton, I believe, seconded by Councilmember Ashford. Is there any comments, or would the city manager like to give us a little something on the background?
Yeah, we'll be replacing a Dodge SUV that the fire chief currently uses. That will be pushed down into the police department as one of the detectives' vehicles. The fire chief thinks that we should replace the SUV with a pickup truck. It has more versatility to the fire department, storage capacity. Chief one vehicle often responds to floodings and disasters and whatnot, where they would need a pickup truck. It also gives us the ability that as these vehicles come out, their role serving the chief, the fire chief, it can be passed down to further in the fire department or throughout other departments like DPW. So by having a pickup truck, it'll have more value down the line for us and other as it goes through the life cycle of the motor pool fund. It was a budgeted item.
Thank you. Is there any questions or discussion from any member of council?
Yeah, and this is the motor vehicle fund, right?
Correct, and there currently is $765,000 budgeted for this year for this expenditure.
All right,
For
thank
all the
you.
expenditures, 30,000 for this one.
Okay,
Any other questions or discussion? We will take the vote.
Councilmember Lamb,
yes.
Councilmember Mosher,
Yes.
Councilmember Pemberton,
yes,
Councilmember Ruiz,
Yes.
Councilmember Ashford,
Yes.
Mayor Rep.
Yes. Item 2.
Accepting the bid from Jorgensen Ford in the amount of $68,594 for two 2021 Ford Explorer utility vehicles in accordance with the state of Michigan My Deal purchasing program and authorizing an estimated tear down and rebuild cost not to exceed $9,400 per patrol vehicle.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Councilmember Lamb, is there a second?
Support.
Councilmember Mosher. Any discussion?
$80,000 was budgeted for these two vehicles, so the vehicle themselves came in under budget. We had budgeted $40,000 per vehicle. They came in about 7,000 and change underneath that.
That's good.
Mayor Rep,
Yes, Councilmember Lamb.
a question with this tear down and rebuild and all that. What's the time that we're looking at for doing this?
Excellent question. So we actually have the vehicles delivered to site to the firm that does the lighting and outfitting. And it takes probably 3 to 4 weeks once they get the vehicle. And what they do is they take, to save money, they take the cages, they take the computers, anything that can be salvaged off the old vehicles, and they've been put them on the newer vehicles. Sometimes when they change the metal or body style of the patrol vehicle, the old cage won't fit, or it'll need a new mounting rack for the computer. So it hopefully 3 to 4 weeks. So we actually send our DPW supervisor to the firm that does this. They take possession of the vehicles, sign off on it, inspect the vehicles from the dealership, and then we just leave it there to be outfitted.
Thank you.
Any other questions? We'll take the vote.
Councilmember Mosher,
Yes.
Councilmember Pemberton,
yes,
Councilmember Ruiz,
Yes.
Councilmember Ashford,
Yes.
Councilmember Lamb,
Yes.
Mayor Rep.
Yes. Item 3, please.
Accepting the sole source quote from SPX Flow US LLC in the amount of $10,799 for replacement of a line tank mixer at the wastewater treatment plant.
Is there a motion?
So moved. Support.
I think it was Councilmember Ashford, or no, Pemberton. I got to wave, but it's everybody talking at the same time.
It's okay. Doesn't matter.
Supported by Councilmember Ashford. Okay. Is there any discussion?
Madam Mayor and Council, the reason why this is a single source provider is because it's the same part we're taking off. by going with the exact same part. The mounting pattern for the bolts are the same. We don't need to re-drill into the concrete to mount a different type of mixing arm. So this is just a direct replacement for the one we already have.
Okay.
And Eric Witter's on if you have any questions.
Does anyone have any questions?
No, but we have, not a question, but we have used this before, right? It's the same.
Correct. We've used this for many times.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Mayor Rep,
Yes, Councilmember Ruiz.
how long will this usually last? What's the longevity of this part?
For that question, let me have Eric come on and he can give you a little bit of feedback.
I think he's on vacation.
It looks like it.
There he is.
Needs to unmute.
You need to unmute.
Still muted.
There you go.
There, go ahead.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Yes, we're replacing devices that are approximately 30 years old, so we should get longevity out of this product by all means.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Any other questions?
So, Madam Mayor, as we go forward tonight, we do have the departments who are at home zooming in. So I'm going to, if you have questions, I promote the panels. It takes a second. So Eric was
Yep.
kind of our guinea pig on the first one there. So thank you, Eric. You did it.
Thanks, Jane.
Thank you. If there's no other questions, then we'll take the vote.
Councilmember Pemberton,
Yes.
Councilmember Ruiz,
Yes,
Councilmember Ashford,
Yes,
Councilmember Lamb,
Yes.
Councilmember Mosrak,
Yes.
Mayor Rep.
Yes. Item 4, please.
Accepting the unit price bid from Dean Marine and Excavating Incorporated in the estimated amount of $66,197.53 for maintenance dredging of the Black River Canal entrance at Lake Huron for the year 2021.
Is there a motion?
so move.
Councilmember Ashford, is there a second?
Second.
Support.
Councilmember Lamb. Is there any discussion? I guess I would ask, is this the similar amount as what we've spent in the past, and do we get reimbursed?
Well, we get reimbursed by the townships for a certain amount, but this is very in line with previous bids. I put the real actual cost for the last several years in the back, so about, I think, almost 10 years are attached to the back. So just because we bid it doesn't mean we use it all, or just because we put that amount in there. It's really based, the amount is based on how much material we actually remove, and that varies years to year. What we did differently this year is we included the option to dump at Lakeside Beach and then also south of Holland. If you remember, we worked with the DNR and the DEQ to expand our permit of where we could dump this based on the erosion issues that were happening south of Holland. So we included that alternative in the original bid documents. It costs a little bit more to dump at Lakeside Beach because they actually have to build a temporary load to get the material out to the water and then remove that and restore the area. We believe this year we're going to have to dump material at Lakeside Beach. If you remember, for a few years, we had too much material at Lakeside Beach and was creating the dune. Now with the high water levels, we're finding that is quite the opposite. So we may end up dumping at Lakeside Beach as we normally do. We're going to triage and find out where we need it most.
Okay. Any questions from council? We'll take the vote.
Councilmember Ruiz,
yes,
Councilmember Ashford,
Yes,
Councilmember Lamb,
Yes.
Councilmember Mosrak,
Yes.
Councilmember Pemberton,
Yes.
Mayor Rep.
Yes. Item 5.
Accepting the proposal from Conchera LLC in the amount of $104,850 for the purchase and installation of new playground equipment at Lighthouse Park with assistance from the Ralph C. Wilson Foundation and the Community Foundation of St. Clair County.
Is there a motion?
So
So
moved.
moved.
I'm sorry, who did that?
So moved.
Councilmember Pemberton. Is there a second?
Second.
Councilmember Lamb. Are we able to put the map up? Mr. Freed, or
No, I am unable to do that right now.
you're unable to do that? Well, everybody did get it in their email, this afternoon that showed the map of the proposed equipment. So if there's any questions or discussion on this,
Mayor,
yes, Councilmember Mosher.
I would just like to thank Mr. Freed for sending those pictures out today. And that is some pretty impressive playground equipment, a lot different than when I grew up in swings and teeter-totters, but very impressive. And I appreciate you sending those out before the meeting, gave us a chance to get a good idea of what we were looking at. So thanks for that.
Yeah, it almost looks like aerospace stuff. It's a little bit different. Oh, here, we do have it.
There we go.
I see. So you do have the one up there that's for Lighthouse Park, or yeah, Lighthouse Park is the one we're discussing right now, where it's going to be.
You have the colored one, James?
Yeah, I'll pull up right here. Hang on.
Nancy's.
Can you see that? Or am I?
Oh, yeah. Yep, we can.
If it's wonky, it's me. It's not the machine. How's that one?
Nope, got it really well. We can see it.
Can I, well, you gotta raise your hand, I don't know, but,
Go ahead, Nancy.
Mayor and City Council, I just wanted to say a couple comments. We went with obviously the lighthouse theme here. What's not pictured here was the original grant. You'll see that we're gonna have, to the right of this will be some exercise equipment and some universal accessible equipment, which was it's actually the newest, latest and greatest, like wheelchair swing, but also can be on with a companion. So it's really a neat piece. You can't see it here, but this playground will be very nice at Lighthouse, and we're super thankful to the Wilson Foundation, the Community Foundation, and the DNR. So yes, so obviously it was going with the Lighthouse theme, and we're hoping it should match the building. The building will look very similar with the white and red roof as like this as well.
Well, it looks really good. Really good. So when is it going to be installed?
We are looking to be up and going by mid-June. So it'll be playable by this summer.
Good. Any questions for Nancy while she's on here?
Mayor,
Yes,
just a
Councilmember.
comment. I've been gone for a couple of years, but I see, Nancy, you haven't stopped in any way, shape, or form in your department and keeping things going. And I keep track of those things because I'm a grandparent, and we know about what goes up and where and everything else. And this city has really done a remarkable job in filling out and making our parks really usable for the kids and the public in general. And I congratulate you and your department once again, and all those people who do the grant writing, excuse me, to secure those things. And it seems it's, again, positive to hear those familiar names like the Wilson Foundation, Community Foundation, so on and so forth. And it's just plain cool. And I'm sorry, by the way, I'm sure this is probably inappropriate, but I'm sorry Western beat Central the other day in basketball, Nancy.
Can we put any mute button? I wish I had.
Too late, Nancy. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilman Ruiz. I really appreciate that. But I also like to thank our residents for, agreeing to the millage, because it's given us leverage for multiple grants to bring these things to Port Huron. And as all you know, the pandemic, our outdoor spaces are very important. If you go by Optimus Park on any day, whether there's snow or no snow, you see kids out there because there just isn't a lot to do. And even as things get a little bit better, parents are still very apprehensive. So I've heard a lot of comments about a lot of the outdoor stuff. So I thank the residents of the city as well, because I think, as the Wilson Foundation said to me the other day, I think Port Huron's becoming the play capital of Michigan. So let's keep that going.
Nice.
If I can just add, in the next year, between all of our park projects, we have about 2.3 to 2 million of work going on in our parks, but it's only going to cost us about $600,000. We were able to leverage that through all the different grants, community partnerships. So between the Wilson Foundation, the amazing work going on at the Community Foundation, Nancy being able to, in working with Kim, writing those grants and getting this together, we were able to leverage, 2 loaves and 2 fishes to get so much done in the city next year. So it's pretty remarkable.
Great, really great. Good job. If
Mayor,
there's no- Yes,
I just want to also thank you, Nancy. As many of you know, my wife's paraplegic, and both of those parks are within walking distance from my house. And so I'm excited to take our 2-year-old and and little baby daughter out this summer, and actually have Jolene be able to get to the equipment. And so that's
Yeah.
pretty exciting stuff. Thank you.
Exciting for me too.
Very nice. Okay, if there's no other discussion, we will vote on item 5.
Councilmember Ashford,
Yes.
Councilmember Lamb,
Yes.
Councilmember Mosrak,
Yes.
Councilmember Pemberton,
Yes.
Councilmember Ruiz,
Yes.
Mayor Rep.
Yes, and we will move on to item 6, which is a similar one, but different park. So if you would read the item, please.
Accepting the proposal from Conchera LLC in the amount of $243,995 for the purchase and installation of new playground equipment at Palmer Park with assistance from the Ralph C. Wilson Foundation, the Community Foundation of St. Clair County, and a grant from the Michigan Department of Natural Resources Trust Fund.
Is there a motion?
So move.
Councilmember Ashford, is there a second?
Support.
Was that you, Councilmember Ruiz?
Yes.
Okay, I can't see it right now with the map up. I can hear you, but I can't see you until you start talking. So now we have the map up for the one at Palmer Park. So maybe we could go over that a little bit, or if Nancy's still on there.
Yes. Can you hear me, Mayor?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. Mayor Rep and City Council, this one is super exciting because we are going to be the second one in the nation to get it. And I'm just so excited about it. But it could put 120 kids on it at a time, actually.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's really exciting for us because Palmer Park is the hub. Obviously, we have our daycare there, day camp in the summer, which has a waiting list every year. And, you know, we need a lot of space. And if you've been to Palmer Park lately, you know it is busy all the time between Sprout City and the slide. And but the equipment there just gets used to death. So this is super exciting because underneath here, which you can see part of it, but not all of it, there's lots of interactive pieces underneath. It's 8-foot clearance to the top. So even if a kid was in a electric chair, they could get underneath and play. There's also, you'll see the transfer station there. This is a very new, innovative piece. And my understanding is it will be a destination for kids to want to come play on it. So super excited that we're getting it. Wilson was super excited when they saw it. And we're, you know, excited to donate to it as well. So we're very excited to get this. We also, in this project, the DNR gave us some money to connect. Palmer Park does not have accessible pathways, sidewalks. So with this grant, we will also be able to do that. That piece is a lot bigger than it even looks. It's like 2,400 square feet. And a lot of play space and a lot of different things. And we're super excited that we're going to be, there's only one other one in Arizona. So super excited that Port Huron will be getting, and we put a lot of time into finding innovative playscapes so they're not just the same everywhere. So we're super excited about this one.
Looks like a roller coaster.
Yeah. Hopefully that's fun for kids. I want to see kids off their phones and outside playing. So that's our goal.
Yeah, Mayor Rep.
Yes, Councilmember Ashford.
Yeah, Nancy, is this, we're gonna knock down all those that old stuff that's there?
Yes, Councilman Ashford, that is correct.
Oh,
A
okay.
lot of that equipment's outdated, I'm sure you've noticed, and
Right.
that's all gonna come down, because actually, we got grandfathered in, but some of those monkey bars and stuff aren't even, you know, I
Mhm.
don't know the word, but they're not supposed to be, so we'll be taking all that down.
Oh, okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you very much for presenting those. I think it's wonderful. Looking forward to seeing them both up there this summer. Take my grandchildren over there, so.
Yeah.
Yep. We will take a vote.
Councilmember Lamb,
Yes.
Councilmember Mosrak,
Yes.
Councilmember Pemberton,
Yes.
Councilmember Ruiz,
Yes.
Councilmember Ashford,
Yes.
Mayor Rep.
Yes, item 7.
Hi, Nancy.
Receive and file the quarterly financial report for the 6-month period ending December 31st, 2020.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Councilmember Lamb, is there a second?
Support.
Councilmember Mosherak. Would you give us a brief overview of the report?
Excellent. Yes, Mayor and Council, over the past 6 months, we've been holding very strongly. Not only have we been able to keep expenses under where we normally would at this time of year, about 48%, about 50% is what you expect. We're at about 48.8, but in that 48.8% is a lot of PPE and emergency protective equipment that we purchased that utilizing emergency management. But we're also at the same time seeing revenues increase about 5.8%. That may not seem like a big number, but on a $30 million budget, that adds up pretty quick. So our revenues are up and our expenses are down. And we're moving forward ever cautiously in the next year to see how this holds out with the whole pandemic and how it affects us.
How about the income tax portion?
Our income tax is going about $400,000 over this point last year.
Okay.
Yeah, that kind of did better than expected, right?
Knock on wood, there's months left, but yeah, we're holding our own.
I think the real test on that one will come after everybody files their income tax reporting by April 30th for the preceding year. That's when you'll really know for sure. So the 9-month, this is the 6-month report. The 9-month report should really tell us something. So thank you. Any questions?
No, I just think you just got to bear in mind how that COVID monies and stuff has pushed us way up over the edge too. So it might not be as bad as we project it to be, or maybe, you know, so
Yeah.
still wait to be seen. Thank you.
We've been very aggressive again with seeking out grant information. I spent a lot of time on Treasury briefings. When the Federal CARES Act money came down, that went to the states to break up and allocate to the municipalities. So they did it in pools of money, whether it be first responder reimbursement pay or hazard pay. Those windows come open quickly and they close quickly, and the Treasury does not do a very good job advertising it. So you really have to be on the ball listening. So I sit in these meetings, mayor reps and the MML meetings and SEMCOG. So we're trying to keep our ear to the ground to find out when these opportunities come available. We've done pretty good. I would say right now we are well north of $800,000 to $1 million of captured revenue.
Right. And thanks, James, for that report. I did go through it, so it was very helpful. Thank you.
Anyone else have anything on the financials? We'll take the vote.
Councilmember Mosherak,
Yes.
Councilmember Pemberton,
Yes.
Councilmember Ruiz,
Yes.
Councilmember Ashford,
Yes.
Councilmember Lamb,
Yes.
Mayor Rep.
Yes, we'll move on to resolutions. Number 1,
Authorizing 15 payments.
is there a motion?
So move.
Councilmember Ashford, is there a second?
Support.
Councilmember Mosherak, is there any questions about the payments? We will take the vote.
Councilmember Pemberton,
Yes.
Councilmember Ruiz,
Yes.
Councilmember Ashford,
Yes.
Councilmember Lamb,
Yes.
Councilmember Mosherak,
Yes.
Mayor Rep.
Yes, item 2 under resolutions.
Approving the agreement with Semco Energy Incorporated for the installation of a natural gas main pipeline extension of approximately 1,010 feet for service for the McNeil Creek Site condominium project.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Councilmember Pemberton, is there a second?
Second?
Councilmember Lamb, is there discussion?
Madam Mayor and Council, this is to service the 19 new homes that will be constructed on 10th Street property that we are working with the county commissioners on. Again, we expect to have construction underway in spring. I personally want basements and homes going up before the end of summer. We believe that is very doable. So this is, again, the utilities. So they're doing site engineering for the concrete, water, sewer, that goes through us. However, we will enter agreements with Semco, with DTE and Charter and AT&T and all that. So you'll see several of these coming through over the next couple months to get utilities and services to those new homes.
Okay. Any questions for Mr. Freed?
Just a point of history, the reason why we're calling the condo McNeil Creek is the old McNeil Creek runs underneath that site. So a little
Okay.
report here on
So is
history.
that going to be the formal name for the condominium project then?
It's the name of the condo docs. We got two to be decided later on. We haven't got that far. But for the condo docs, we needed a name. We worked with David Haynes, our historian here, I wanted something that was to the site specific, and the old creek bed, which goes all the way down to the St. Clair River. If you actually look across from the bridge on that city-owned land, there's in the middle of July, the entire yard will be dead, but the center strip is green because that creek still runs underneath the ground.
Oh,
Look this July.
any other questions? We'll take the vote.
Councilmember Ruiz,
Yes.
Councilmember Ashford,
Yes.
Councilmember Lamb,
Yes.
Councilmember Mosherak,
Yes.
Councilmember Pemberton,
Yes.
Mayor Rep.
Yes. Item 3.
Approving the agreement with Tetra Tech of Michigan PC for professional engineering services for the construction of the replacement sidewalk and seawall on the Black River adjacent to 522 Quay Street.
Is there a motion?
So
So
move.
move.
Support.
Councilmember Lamb, supported by Councilmember Ashford. Is there any discussion?
Madam Mayor and Council, as you probably noticed, behind the zebra bar is a city-owned boardwalk and seawall there that we actually own and control. We have, the seawall is failing. We have issues actually happening underneath the sidewalk, and left unchecked, it could actually compromise the building of the zebra. We blocked off the sidewalk because it's simply not safe to walk over. Those concrete panels could collapse and fall in. So we looked at several options. One was removing the concrete, backfilling and doing a temporary fix. And that was about $75,000 to $100,000. And that would maybe get us 7 to 10 years. So a complete reconstruction will be about $330,000, but that would get us 40 to 50 years. The current seawall there is 40 to 50 years. So when you depreciate the cost over the lifespan of the new asset, it seemed to be financially prudent to the city to just go ahead and replace that seawall, invest in the long-term solution, rather than spend $100,000 and have to come back in 7 to 10 years and spend $300,000 of taxpayer money. So we did look at the cost options. We depreciated them out of the lifespan schedule, and that's how we came to that recommendation. This is a contract to go with that construction for that set of seawall there. And we hope to get it done relatively quickly. I want to spend a summer with that seawall in disrepair.
Any questions? Discussion? We'll take the vote.
Councilmember Ashford,
Yes.
Councilmember Lamb,
Yes.
Councilmember Mosherak,
Yes.
Councilmember Pemberton,
Yes.
Councilmember Ruiz,
Yes.
Mayor Rep.
Yes. We will move on to item 4.
Approving a multi-year agreement with Tetra Tech of Michigan PC for professional surveying and inspection services work.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Councilmember Mosherak, is there a second?
Second.
Councilmember Ruiz, is there discussion?
Madam Mayor and Council, this is, you're at 12, right?
We're on,
No.
yes,
11.
12.
This is
11.
I mean,
No, we're
11.
at 11.
Sorry. This is just for our standard surveying for all of our public works projects throughout the city. Sometimes we use development as well, just a standard file.
Any questions? We'll take the vote.
Councilmember Lamb,
Yes.
Councilmember Mosherak,
Yes.
Councilmember Pemberton,
Yes.
Councilmember Ruiz,
Yes.
Councilmember Ashford,
Yes.
Mayor Rep.
Yes. Now we'll move on to item 5.
Approving the agreement with BMJ Engineers and Surveyors Incorporated for professional engineering and surveying services for the River Street Marina Maintenance Dredging Project for the years 2021 through 2025.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Support.
Councilmember Pemberton, supported by Councilmember Ashford. Is there any discussion?
Madam Mayor and Council, this is our essentially our agreement for sonar monitoring of the Black River depths. This determines how much, if we need to dredge, how much to dredge, where to dredge specifically. We've gotten lucky over the last couple of years because of the high water. We really haven't had to dredge much because the water is so high. That will not be the case in 3 to 5 years probably. So the longer we go without dredging, it just means as come down, we'll have to dredge more going on in the future. Another thing this does by monitoring the river is if a high spot pops up someplace, we can know about it, advise vessels where it's at, and remove it if necessary.
Any questions for Mr. Freed? We'll take the vote.
Councilmember Mosrak,
Yes.
Councilmember Pemberton,
Yes.
Councilmember Ruiz,
Yes.
Councilmember Ashford,
Yes.
Councilmember Lamb,
Yes.
Mayor Rep.
Yes, we'll move on to item 6.
Approving the agreement with Mount Sinai Society of Port Huron to transfer Mount Sinai Cemetery located at 818 Holland Avenue to the city of Port Huron.
Is there a motion?
So
So
move.
moved. Support.
Councilmember Ashford, supported by Councilmember Mosrak. If you could just give a little explanation, Mr. Freed, although I know this has been something that even back when I was the city clerk
Maybe
was.
you're better off to give the explanation since you've been working on it since 1999.
It's been a long time coming.
Yeah, I called Mayor Rep and I said, does City Clerk Rep have any recollection of this from 1999? So, which oddly, you don't forget much. So we have been working on this since well before 99. Our city attorney issued opinion then. This is a historic Jewish cemetery in the city of Port Huron. It's kind of a landmark, a piece of our history. Meeting with the members of the Mount Sinai Port Huron Corporation, meeting with them, hearing the stories, just the impact that the Jewish community has had on our city and the development of our city, a very rich industry there. If it's going to operate as a Jewish-owned cemetery, a public body cannot govern that way. Meaning there's a reason why it was a private cemetery, because they had rules and restrictions of who could be buried there. That portion of the cemetery is filled and will no longer have burials except for a few families who have already purchased. The other remaining empty spots at the cemetery towards the southern end, which is a decent amount of empty burial sites, will be open to the city for future use. There will also be a fence installed around the historic Jewish portion of that cemetery to maintain that sanctity. There's 2 ways this could have happened. One, we could have taken no action, and people can ask, well, what happens to a cemetery when the people who govern it all pass away or that it falls into disrepair? There is actually a commission at the state that oversees cemeteries, and if we do nothing and there's no orderly transfer, they could just essentially assign the caretaker of the cemetery to the city of Port Huron. So what the Mount Sinai group is, they worked with us and said, we don't want to have it happen in that way. Let's have an orderly transition where we can make a contribution. They're going to do $35,000, which will go in our perpetual care fund for the cemetery. The interest on that investment will most likely pay for the maintenance and upkeep of that cemetery. Right now, they have it under contract for about $1,500 to $2,000 a year. So it won't be a financial burden on the city because of that large financial contribution they are making to our perpetual care fund. So we're getting some funding to go with it to take care of it. We're also protecting that historic property for the city of Port Huron and for its residents. So any questions on that?
Does anybody have any questions?
No, I don't have any questions, but I think that's the right thing to do. I like that. Yeah.
I just want to point out, they're under no obligation to give us any money, and to give us a gift of $35,000 so that this wouldn't be a financial burden on the city was pretty remarkable.
Well, way back when it was talked about in the 90s, it was, they had wanted us to take it over, but they didn't. They wanted it restricted to just Jewish burials, and that's where the problem came up. Like you said, you can't restrict to just Jewish burials. It has to be open to the public. And so now it's enough years have gone by that obviously that has been filled up. So you're able to fence it off and just have that part. So I'm glad that finally came to some fruition.
Yeah, me too, Pauline. And the name won't change either, will it?
No, we're not.
Oh, okay.
Oh, no, we're gonna, everything will stay the same. We did.
It's okay.
there's a lot of rich history there we want to be respectful of.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? We'll take the vote.
Councilmember Pemberton,
Yes.
Councilmember Ruiz,
Yes.
Councilmember Ashford,
Yes,
Councilmember Lamb,
Yes.
Councilmember Mosher,
Yes,
Mayor Rep.
Yes, item 7.
Adopting the revised poverty exemption policy, procedure, and guidelines.
Is there a motion?
so move. Support.
Councilmember Lamb, I believe, and Councilmember Ashford.
Couldn't even get it out.
Is there, do you want to give an explanation, James, or?
Sure. So we have a sliding scale that we use. In the average, we have about 50 to 55 folks who participate in this program. On average, they get about between 25 and 40% right now for their exemption poverty rate. It's based on your income and all of that. What the state has done to provide universal around the state, they've essentially given you 3 options: 25, 50, or 100%. If you want to go with our average, 25% would be more in line. But these homes, and I sent you the spreadsheet, these homes are some of the lowest taxable value. We're talking homes that have assessed value of $12 to $15, maybe $20,000. Taxes aren't a lot on it. The difference between 25% and 50% is about 25% is about $26,000 we would lose. 50% is $39,000, not very much more. This is the lowest bracket of income in our community, the most vulnerable, the most vulnerable to the whims of economy or COVID and whatnot. So we wanted to give as much exemption as possible to help these folks out, because it's not a huge number. It's not a big number when you're running a $100 million corporation, but it's a big number when you're living on that kind of income and poverty. So sometimes we lose sight of that. I grew up in poverty, so I recognize that. The reason why we're not doing 100% and only 50% is because if we do 100, then those homeowners don't qualify for the Michigan homestead tax credit, which is up to $2,000. So by giving them 50%, if they owe beyond that, they qualify for the homestead tax credit, and we'll be able to submit that to the state. So we will have the form for the poverty exemption form at City Hall. So when they come in, our staff will help them fill that out. And then our staff will also help them fill out the 1040C form through the state of Michigan to get their homestead tax credit exemption as well for anything they have to pay it. So we will help them with, we're not talking about a lot of people, but we will help them with both forms. So that's where we put the ceiling at the 50% mark there, not the full 100, because we didn't want to take all that away from the homestead tax credit. If you don't pay any taxes, then you don't qualify for the credit.
Well, it's good. It's a good thing for those that need it, definitely. Is there any questions?
Mayor Rep,
Yes, Councilmember Ruiz.
if I may, James, it's a great concept. It's a good move. Where does that come from? Where's that thought originate? In your office? Is it another office?
To move it up,
Yes.
my office.
Yes. Okay, thank you.
And and to be quite frank, it was how do we get the maximum deduction to these folks? What does that look like to our and then how do you do it without robbing them from the homestead tax credit? So that 50%, there's a sweet spot there. I spoke with my counterparts across the state. I think you're going to see 50, because of the methodology with the homestead tax credit and maximizing the value. I think you're going to see most cities go to that 50% mark, because we discussed it. We were one of the first cities to come out public. We're going to recommend to council because a lot of city managers asked. Also, when you review the numbers, these homes have an assessed value of $15,000, $20,000. So if they were sold in the market, you're talking $30,000 to $40,000 for these homes. These are our most vulnerable. This is our charge to keep, is to protect them and look out for them. So it did originate in my office.
Thank you.
Yeah, Pauline. Yeah,
Yes.
and James, does this policy, does it have other implications in terms of grant fundings and stuff like that?
I'm not 100% sure what the long-term ramifications will be on grant funding, but I can find out for you. I think what it will do is it shows that any grants to help our low to moderate income communities, we've taken those efforts and met them with our own efforts, meaning we're not just looking for outside help, but we're taking action internally to help the most vulnerable.
Okay, so this doesn't have any bearing as to how we could justify how many people that we have living below the poverty level?
No, it won't be used for that.
Oh, okay.
Thank you. Any other questions? We'll take a vote.
Councilmember Ruiz,
Yes.
Councilmember Ashford,
Yes.
Councilmember Lamb,
Yes.
Councilmember Mosherak,
Yes.
Councilmember Pemberton,
Yes.
Mayor Rep.
Yes, we'll move on to ordinances. Number 1.
First read, an ordinance to amend Chapter 52 zoning, Article 4, general and supplementary regulations to provide for additions and revisions regarding locations of marijuana facilities and marijuana establishments within the city of Port Huron.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Councilmember Pemberton, seconded
Support.
by Councilmember Mosherak. Could you explain what this ordinance is going to allow for?
Yes, Mayor Rep, I've invited to tonight's episode of Hollywood Squares, David Haynes, our planning director, to give us an explanation.
Good evening, Mayor, Rep, and Council. This is further revisions to our marijuana zoning ordinance. One, to put it more in alignment with our Chapter 12 business ordinance language. This is adding an additional location to the what we initially had was 6 locations. We'll now have 7, which will be in alignment with with Chapter 12. In addition, we're making a revision to the M1 and M2 zone, allowing lesser uses that typically would fall in the into the C1 zones. Therefore, we'd have retail and provisioning would also be able to allow into co-locating with grow operations in an M1 and M2.
So this just kind of goes along with the new ordinance that was approved by the voters to make it cohesive with both. Is that it?
Correct. This will put it in alignment with the ballot ordinance and create continuity between the Chapter 12 and Chapter 52.
Okay. Any questions for Mr. Haynes? Thank you. And we will take a vote.
Councilmember Ashford,
No.
Councilmember Lamb,
Yes.
Councilmember Mosherak,
Yes.
Councilmember Pemberton,
Yes.
Councilmember Ruiz,
Yes.
Mayor Rep.
Yes. That concludes our agenda. And I really don't even have any announcements tonight other than to say Happy Valentine's Day, I guess, this weekend, President's Day next Monday. And that will, refuse, I believe, is still picked up on President's Day. Is that correct, Mr. Freed? Because as a private contractor, I don't believe that it changes anything, correct?
Correct.
Correct. Okay, so that's as is. And just a reminder, I did send an email to council reminding them about the goals session on February 24th and asking to have you, because we're doing it by Zoom, to submit your suggestions in advance to the city clerk so that she can compile a list of everybody's prior to the meeting day. So if you didn't already get it in your inbox, you should have it. Is there anything else to come before the council this evening? And did we ever hear from Mr. Watkins again?
He wasn't able to get back on.
Okay,
I
okay.
just want to say I appreciate the council being gracious as I try to win the screens at the same time. So there's a little bit behind the scenes here going on. So
You're doing a good job.
I'm hopefully going to delegate this next week. So
You know, the more that you can do, the more valuable you are.
oh, that's nice.
Yeah, Pauline, I couldn't get my camera to operate right. That's the only reason I was just vocal.
Oh, that you're just, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
the camera was kind of off.
Do you need any help with that for the next meeting?
No,
No?
I
Okay.
know what it is. I just didn't want to start messing with it and just
Yeah.
in the first place. So I'll just do it after,
No
But
problem.
thank you for the offer.
Okay. Anybody else have anything to bring before council? If not, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Okay, meeting is adjourned.